I'm Jamie Rawsthorne and I'm on HelpBnk. I'm a YouTube expert. I've spent 7 years on the platform, growing my own channel to 1 million subscribers, and I've helped Cody Sanchez, Simon Squibb, and many more do exactly the same. Today, I'm revealing it all. Let's get into it. How much can you really make from YouTube? Now, the intelligent monetizers usually make $1 per subscriber per month. I've seen channels with 60,000 subscribers generate literally $300,000 in a month through the back-end business systems they've created. One of the clients that I work with generates over 10 million a year with just 1 million subscribers. That being said, for the average creator, you aren't making that much money. YouTube are taking 55% of all the AdSense, and you need 50 to 100,000 subscribers if you're in the general space to make any sort of meaningful brand deal. Is starting a YouTube channel a risk? I actually think the risk, if you want to be a YouTuber, is not starting a YouTube channel. There's 85% of people who have so many regrets on their deathbed. That to me is a bigger risk than uploading the first video on the platform. How do you decide what niche to pick for a YouTube channel? One thing I think about is you want to think of an area where you can be best in the world, where you thoroughly enjoy the content, you could see yourself creating the content for a very long time, and it has business potential to create a business in the future and make really, really good money. If you are relying on YouTube AdSense and brand deals to pay you, you won't make that much money. So you want to find a place that, one, you're super passionate about, you're best in the world at, but you also need to align that with business opportunity. Do you need expensive equipment to start a YouTube channel? I would say absolutely categorically not. If you look at Mr. Beast, who's a billionaire, the biggest YouTuber in the world, he started with a webcam and eventually got a phone, eventually got a camera, but that was like 3 or 4 years into creation. If you look at the oldest tab on some of your favorite creators, so many of them started with just terrible setups. You only see this perfectly squeaky clean sort of shot that these guys have got on me right now after years of starting with very small setups. So you absolutely don't need the expensive stuff to start. Is YouTube too saturated now for new creators? I would say absolutely not. One thing I think about is, if you think about shoes, like, how much can you really do to innovate in a shoe? It's been wearing them for thousands of years. Nike always seems to come out every single year with hundreds of new designs. It's exactly the same with YouTube. What do people want to watch? What do they want to listen to? What do people want to consume? It is literally infinite and endless. I wouldn't say it's too saturated whatsoever. Is YouTube hard? If you want to be the biggest YouTuber in the world, if you want to be a full-time creator, it can be very hard. It is the most desired job in the world. Therefore, I see it as one of the most competitive. If you think you can be best in the world in your space and you really go for it, yes, it's very hard, but it's very achievable as well. And I think anything in life that is worth doing and achieving is going to be hard anyway. It's going to be hard working a 9 to 5 that you hate on the other end of the spectrum as well. So I think you've got to choose your hard in life and go for it. How do you get over your fear of judgment? I think this is one of the main things that holds people back when they start creating. I also think it is the most commonly shared thing, even amongst the most successful people. How you get over the fear of judgment is actually the wrong way to phrase it. With emotional fears, you don't want to go over them, you don't want to go under them, you don't want to go around them, you don't want to hide from them, you want to go through them. So the best way to do that is start creating, feel the judgment that you get from other people, which would be way less than you actually think. Realize it doesn't kill you and become a stronger person as a result and go through that fear. What's something you wish you knew about YouTube when you started? To be honest, I wish I knew everything that I knew now. I've been doing it for 7 years. Like I said, I've worked on my own channel, worked on so many other different creators. I wish I knew absolutely everything. I think the main thing that I've realized since leaving my own channel 3 years ago and working with really smart entrepreneurs is you need to be able to create a business that is complementary to the content you create, that sort of gives you an exit plan to YouTube. If you're constantly creating on YouTube forever and there's no way out, you can feel very trapped. That's what I did after 3 years. I set up my channel straight out of university, was super excited. 3 years later, with hundreds of thousands of subscribers and really good money, I did not want to create that content. And I see people doing that for 10 years, 15 years. So you need a business you can focus on that can give you really good money and that enables you to sort of evolve the content that you can create. How can I grow fast on YouTube? If you got your camera out, you took your shirt off, you took your pants off, you took all of your underwear off and your socks and you ran down the high street, uploaded that video to YouTube saying the craziest stuff, you would grow fast. You'd go viral, you'd probably end up in jail, you'd probably end up with no brands wanting to work with you. So that is an answer to help you grow fast. When you think about growing fast, you want to be thinking, how do I get what I want to get? If you're doing YouTube to get to 100,000 subscribers at all costs, you're going to miss setting up business opportunities to help with the content. I'd be thinking, how can I create content in a way that I love it and I can see myself doing this for 5-10 years. Analysis from over 3.5 million channels from TubeBuddy showed that the average number of videos it requires to hit 100,000 subscribers was 418. That is years and years of uploading every single week. You want to find a system where you can continually create great content that you love. How do I come up with video ideas? I sort of see YouTube as this almighty teacher, and every single YouTube creator is a student. They're uploading their homework, and every video is a piece of homework. But if you're in school, you're taught to not copy the students who are getting the A+, because you're going to get the same results that they got with way less work and time. Now, if you think about it from a YouTube perspective, you can see every single student who's got an A+ with their homework, with their YouTube videos, and you can look at every single second. You can look at the titles they've used, the formats they've used, the hooks they've used, the animations, the editing style, their presentation styles. So you can see every aspect that they have used to get amazing results, and sort of see the gap between where they're at, where you're at, and start creating from there. Something that I say is that ideas have got the highest leverage on growth. Before Simon Squibb uploaded a video that got 6 million views, he was generating 2,000 views for his long form videos. Now they're averaging over 100,000 views. That one video alone grew his channel 200,000 subscribers. It took the exact same amount of time to film, yet absolutely exploded his channel. So it's really important to find the right ideas. How do you actually do that? YouTube as a platform has more valuable open data than any other platform in the world. It is the only platform out of TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, where you can actively search everything that's performed really, really well in your niche from loads of different creators and see what has performed well for them. YouTube's a platform that's been around for over 18 years. It's home to billions of videos. And like I said, this is a real strong asset for you trying to find videos that are absolutely going to explode your channel as well. I've got a framework called the CCC. Capture everything that is performed really well in your niche, categorize that up into 1 to 3 high performing content categories, and then creating your ideas, your roadmap, and brainstorm from this data of what has performed really well. If you look at Simon's channel now, Simon Squibb, he's got 2 high performing content categories. One of them is a long form business education video. Another one is telling dreamer videos, interviewing people on the streets. But focusing on these 2 areas means that the team don't create content in all these different areas. They can just focus on areas that perform really well. And the CCC methodology of capture everything that's performed really well, categorizing that up, and creating from this high-performing data is a great way for you to come up with unique angles, unique ideas that have already been proven to work really well and already explode channels. Where should I start when planning new videos? How I sort of think about this is you want to have an audience-first approach. With every single client that I work with, and including with my own channel, we name the avatar that we're targeting. So with Simon Squibb, we have Dreamer Dan. He's 25 years old. He's working a job or straight out of university, and he's really hungry to live a great life, to set up a business. What I then do when we're clear on who we're targeting is get even clearer. So I think about their hopes, fears, dreams, and what they feel are blocking them from achieving their dreams. From that point with the hook, you want the hook to be really punchy, but you're literally just ticking off the hopes, their dreams, and you're sort of getting away and removing the blockers. So for Dreamer Dan, one of the blockers is he doesn't have an idea, he doesn't feel competent, he doesn't feel like he has the skills. His dream is to set up a business and make his family proud. Within a hook, we'd say something like, if you are someone who wants to make their family proud, but doesn't quite feel they have the skills, we have a video that shows you a step-by-step process to make it happen. Another thing of a blocker for Dreamer Dan would be they don't know the exact steps to take. So you can start to see how we're really clear on who we're targeting. We're then mapping out the things that they feel is holding them back. We're mapping out their desired outcome and really just delivering that throughout the video. How do you create the perfect intro? Now, there's a few ways that I think about this. The first one is a really standardized framework that so many people get wrong. So this is really helpful. I'll then talk a little bit about a bit more of an innovative method that isn't quite for everyone, but the ones that get it right, it really does work for. When you're thinking about an intro, you want to be matching the thumbnail and the title to the hook. I see the title and the thumbnail as being the promise to the viewer. So they're on YouTube homepage, they want to see which videos they should look at. They've clicked on this video because they want to receive something. The curiosity loop is opened. You want to guarantee with that viewer as soon as possible that you will deliver on the promise of the title and thumbnail. So a framework to do that every single time is reassure the viewer that they're going to get what they came for. This can be visually, this could be verbally with a script, it could be with the edit, but reassure the viewer they're going to get what they came for. Excite them for what is to come. Again, they've clicked on your video out of the other 15 videos on YouTube homepage. You want to excite them for what is to come once you've reassured them, and then deliver A real mistake that a lot of entrepreneurs make as well is they waffle too much in the intro. If ever you've got a video which is 5 steps to do X and the first step starts 2.5 minutes in, this viewer has clicked on this video, you've told him you're going to deliver it, but they've just waited 2.5 minutes and they've probably clicked off. So the intro, really, really important. On average, you'll lose 30 to 40% of viewers within the first 30 seconds. A real way to retain them is through reassuring the viewer they're going to get what they came for, exciting them for what's to come, and then delivering on that. The next aspect of the intro, a little bit more innovative, as I said. This is from a framework from a guy called Matthew Dix, who wrote a book on storytelling. It's called Storyworthy, and he says a great story should slap you in the face. And that's a similar sort of approach that I have with some creators that I work with, and my own channel back in the day was, how can we really get this person to sit up on their seat? A lot of YouTube viewing is done very passively. How do you really just slap them in the face with the intro? That's another sort of way that you can think about spicing it up. How can you make it violent? How can you really sort of just throw them off with something that really hooks their attention and reassures them that they're going to get what they came for through this sort of shock factor? How long should a video be? It's an interesting one. I think a video should be no longer than it needs to be, but it should be no shorter either. So if I'm learning about how to put a phone case on this phone, I want that video to be quite short. I don't need to learn about where this phone case was designed. I don't need to learn about the material that it's made for. I need to know how to put the phone case on the phone. That should be a short video. It shouldn't be too long. There's different applications of that. If it's an educational video, there's different varying levels you should go, but I think it's really important in the planning phase, being really clear on what you want to deliver to the audience and delivering on that as effectively, efficiently as possible. The only caveat I would say to that is YouTube strategically is sort of at a war with Netflix. YouTube generates $30 billion a year from AdSense. Netflix valuation as a company is, I think it's 200 billion, it's hundreds of billions anyway. And those two really are at a war for attention. YouTube's sort of strategic advantage is the user-generated content it creates, but they're really fighting for TV screens. The most optimized content to really work on TV screens is obviously not shorts where you're flicking away constantly because you need a lot of attention on the phone. It's usually long form, sit back, relax and watch. You want a video to be really clear, really concise, to deliver. You don't need it to be too long, you don't need it to be too short, but YouTube also does have a strategic advantage to pushing long form videos. Equally, it had a strategic advantage to putting shorts when TikTok came about and they had a war with TikTok. What makes a viral video? For me, I think a viral video comes from making someone feel an emotional intensity that is quite profound. The most viral video that I've worked on is a video that me and Zac did, my YouTube partner from the Zac and Jay Show, where we dressed Max Fosh up in the worst clothes imaginable. We took him to London Fashion Week. He was wearing this pink rug. He had these terrible trainers on. I think they were pumps. He had earrings on with Z and J, and he looked terrible. He was absolutely petrified. He was nervous, as you would be. Me and Zac didn't want to do it, so we got Max to do it. And that video got 32 million views. We grew 300,000 subscribers from that one video alone, and that absolutely exploded our channel. We ended up growing 430,000 subscribers by the end of that year. We very nearly went broke before that. And I think the reason that video went so viral was because the emotion that Max felt in that video was felt by every single one of the viewers who were watching it. They were absolutely terrified. That's something that I think about when it comes to viral videos. How do you maximize the emotion that the viewer feels throughout this video? How wide can this video possibly go, the target addressable market? That is talked about, but what is rarely talked about is the depth. So yeah, how many people can this hit and they can really resonate with this, but how deep can we really get them? Those two metrics are really important with a viral video. What are some common techniques YouTubers use to hook you? They will usually give you the most extreme aspect of the video. So Mr. Beast buying an island will be this bird's eye view in a helicopter. The chopper sounds are going absolutely insane. You've got the boats, you've got the this, you've got the that, but it'll give you the extreme version of this. 30% of viewers will drop off in the first 30 seconds. So YouTubers are literally at war to keep you on in that first 30 seconds. They want the concept of the video to be very clearly outlined. They want you to be very excited. They want you to feel it is impossible for me to click off. How do I get more views on my previously uploaded videos or a video that is disappointed? What I would say is the best thing to really do here is if you've got enough data, a few thousand views coming in, check the analytics. The basic metrics are the click-through rate and the retention of the video. To be honest, I think once you've released a video, once you've done some quick little analysis, it's so much better to be focusing on the next video on how you can really improve it. I've seen a lot of creators sort of really have such high hopes for a video that's going to perform really well. and it doesn't quite perform well, and they do everything they can to change all the thumbnails, to tweet about it, but they spend so much energy on the previous video that hasn't performed well. I think they'd get better returns focused on the next video and just keeping getting those reps in. If your channel is reliant on one video to explode, it's in quite a vulnerable position. If your channel is reliant on a system that keeps you producing for years at something you're passionate about, that is a much safer bet. Do the general sort of health checkups, and once you've done that, move on to the next one and try and create the best video possible. How do I get more people to click on my videos? You want to be thinking, what is super unique? What can I bring that's different here? There's a lot of people that will follow the best practices, but the best practices are the most common practices. How can you really stand out? The best sort of framework that comes to my mind, or idea that comes to my mind in this instance, is a video that Zac did, Zac Rawsthorne, where he pickpocketed a pickpocketer who pickpocketed him. I saw that thumbnail, thought it was absolutely genius. I literally couldn't not click it. And that video got loads of views, 8 million plus views. You want to be thinking, how can you generate intrigue? How can you generate curiosity? How can you really stand out? A lot of people look at the best practices on YouTube. You want to be thinking of the supply and demand of creators as well. It is quite a, I wouldn't say saturated place, but there's a lot of creators. There's a high supply of creators who are following the best practices. So what can you do to zag while everyone else is zigging? What makes a perfect thumbnail? The perfect thumbnail is something that makes the people on YouTube homepage who you're gonna go after, who you're trying to go after, makes it impossible for them not to click. It clearly communicates what the video is, evokes as much curiosity as possible, it evokes as much intrigue as possible, visually stands out on YouTube homepage. There's a good tool that you could use, thumbnailtest.com, I believe is the name of it, and that shows you how your thumbnail looks based on everything else. Those are sort of like the thing that underpins an absolute killer thumbnail. My video got 5 views. How do I know what I did wrong? Again, what you can do is look at every video that's performed highest in your niche and just watch 10 of those videos. And after every single video of them that you watch, compare that with your video. And you can really see the massive difference, because if you think about YouTube fundamentally, YouTube is a platform that is designed to give the audience the best viewing experience possible. So it's designed to serve viewers that they want to click and have them leave YouTube going, that was such a good experience subconsciously that I'm gonna log into YouTube again and spend my time there so YouTube can sell ads and make money off you. If your video is not being pushed, that is counter to YouTube's objectives. If your video is an absolute killer that the audience would absolutely love, but usually that is not the case. So how do you find how to create killer videos is do deep analysis into all of the videos that have performed the best. That'll give you the theory, analyzing the 10 highest performing videos in that space to really show you the gap. What will give you the practice is just getting as many reps in as possible and just improving every single upload as much as possible as well. Who should I take inspiration from? I think you can take creative inspiration from certain people, but actual lifestyle inspiration, I'd be very hesitant to do. Mr. Beast, for example, I will study his stuff, I will learn from him, I'll listen to him on podcasts. Do I want to live a life that is working every possible second? Absolutely not. I think that's a distinction that I've sort of tried to make. The older I've got, the more mature I've got, is there may be people who have got what I've got professionally, but do they have what I want personally? And usually not. Usually those are two different people. So that's just something I'd be mindful of, is you've got your creative inspirations, but you've also got your lifestyle and personal inspirations, and try not to blur the two, because Mr. Beast will give you information on how to improve on YouTube, but he'll also have spent every working second of his life from 13 to 20 trying to make it happen, which you are not willing to do and you don't want to do. So yeah, it's interesting and important to make those distinctions, I believe. How do you craft the perfect storyline? How do you tell the perfect joke? How do you make the perfect movie? How do you make the perfect t-shirt? It's quite tough to answer that. What I would say is, with a good storyline, you want the viewers to be very clear on what the stake is, what is the threat, and what is the terrible thing that happens if something doesn't go right. You want to know the opposite of that. What is the huge, amazing life transformation if it does go right? As the viewer is watching the video, you never want them to wander off and go, oh, okay, I'm not too sure why this person is doing this thing. If you're explaining again about phone cases on phones, I don't want to be questioning, why is this guy talking about this thing is unrelated. It's the same with telling stories. You don't want the person going, why is this person here now? Where does this relate to the storyline? What is the huge transformation? And what is the huge risk at the bottom? How much money does Mr. Beast make from YouTube? He makes a lot less money from YouTube than he puts in. I heard on an interview he's spending literally $4 million per video on YouTube, and he's definitely not making that back. He has a business venture that is complementary to his videos, that serves the same audience, that is very, very scalable. And that's where he's making the lion's share of his revenue, of his from net worth. It's the $100 million Mr. Beast Feastables, not the 55% of AdSense that YouTube gives them. Exactly the same with Logan Paul and KSI. It's the prime, it's not the brand deals that YouTube give them. So he's making good money on YouTube, but he's spending way more money on YouTube. Where he's really making money is the brand reach and reputation he's gained from YouTube. Is Mr. Beast the GOAT of YouTube? I think purely from a numbers game, someone who's had more impact on the platform than anyone else, I would think yes. The other name that sort of springs up is Casey Neistat. Casey Neistat posted on YouTube weekly vlogs for 8 years and had 150,000 subscribers. He then started posting every single day and grew to 10 million subscribers a year and a half later. So he really did have a huge transformation on YouTube, but Mr. Beast is just blown out of the water. He's on the Forbes list, he's on Person of the Year, Time Person of the Year. It's hard to think of someone who's had more of an impact on YouTube than Mr. Beast. So right now he does take my GOAT spot. How important is editing in making great YouTube videos? I think editing is really important overall, but I also think great editing can be a lack of editing. Sometimes telling a story and getting the edit out the way is the best editing. I think this style of video, if you start adding in animations, planes flying over, bombs exploding, that's just a bit distracting, right? Like, what is the video value proposition here? I'm giving you information on YouTube. What's the best way to edit around that and enhance that and ensure you're learning as much as possible with every word and second that you're hearing and investing into listening to this thing? What's the worst thing about being a YouTuber? I think the worst thing about being a creator, you've got a management point of view and you've got a creativity point of view. I think the job always requires you to be creative. It always requires you to be on. If you don't want to film a video one day and you're really tired and you just can't be bothered and there's been a family tragedy or something, you sort of have to be that same person on camera. For the most part, for most creators, Mr. Beast, he won't come on and talk about how his aunt is really, really ill. He'll be this crazy guy, super energetic. So I think the worst thing is you're sort of trapped in the character that you create. I also think the worst thing about a YouTuber, there's a bit of a dichotomy where to be an amazing YouTuber that has great reach, you need to actually have really good managerial skills. And I think creativity and productivity and management are sort of opposite ends of the spectrum. So this video is reaching way more people than just Simon alone. Simon's a really accomplished business entrepreneur. He's managed lots of people. He's got a really credible team of 3 around me at the moment. A lot of creators, when they start creating, 100% of their time is going into what they're best at in the world, which is coming up with ideas, filming, editing, and being in the art. As you grow the YouTube channel and try and make it something bigger than yourself, you have to hire a producer, an editor, researcher potentially. Suddenly you've got to manage these people, you've got to approve on holiday, you've got to read through contracts, and less of the proportion of your time is spent on creating and it goes to management, and those skills are polar opposite. So I'd say that's one of the worst things about being a YouTuber that a lot of YouTubers really miss. How do you avoid creative burnout? This is a really tough question. It is something that you manage. It is not something you avoid. I think every big creator has had burnout at least 3 times in their life, probably way more. I think there's varying degrees of burnout. I think it is having a long-term mindset. It's focusing on creativity, not productivity. I think the worst thing that you can do when you're really tired is try and smash out work that is not inspiring, and you're doing emails, you're reading contracts, and you need to get back into creating videos. The probably best thing to do there is just take a bit of time off, take a day off, take half a day off. Having optimum energy is the best way to think about creativity, but to be productive, it doesn't really care about the energy, it cares about the hours. So making those distinctions will really help you as a creator with burnout. Why do so many YouTubers fall off? I think it's so hard to stay relevant. Will Smith has a quote which is, "Fame is amazing to achieve, it's okay to maintain, and it is absolutely terrible to lose." It is so hard for these creators to constantly be on. There's so much pressure involved. They're managing the teams, they're creating all the content. They can't really take a day off if they're in front of camera. So it's just a really hard thing to sustain unless you build a business which is complementary to your YouTube channel, which is sort of the exit plan. Then you can focus on the business, not necessarily just the channel. If you're looking for inspirations of people that have done that, I think Grace Beverly is a really good example. She's got Tala, Sustainable Gymwear. She originally started on Instagram and YouTube. Now she very rarely creates content. In fact, she's got a podcast. Ali Abdaal is a really good example, although he still does create content on YouTube. He complements that with a business that makes a lion's share of his revenue. It is something that I missed when I was running my YouTube channel. We had the creative side, we did not have the complementary business side. So when Domino's shouted out, Domino's had a new flavor of pizza and gave us some money, we had to tell the world it was amazing. There was no sort of exit plan, and that's why I left. I wouldn't say that I fell off, but that's why I left. And I think if I stayed in, I definitely would have fell off. So yeah, that's something to bear in mind. It's really, really tough if it is just creativity that you are providing. You need a business on the back end if you want to get out of that.